My name is Jason Stabinskas. I'm the Managing Director of Los Cerros Limited, an ASX listed company entirely focused on gold projects in Colombia. You can view any of our presentations on our website for our usual disclaimers and cautionary statements around forward-looking statements. As I mentioned, we're listed on the ASX. We recently raised a little over $20 million, and that welcomed two high-profile precious metal funds out of the US to the registry, both at slightly under 5%. We also have Lizing Pty at a little under 9%, Bullet Holding Corp at 4%, and Anglo Gold Ashanti is the only international mining house in the top 20 with 1.67%, and that's the result of a deal we did with Anglo Gold Ashanti to secure the Chuscal project, their portion of the Chuscal project, in exchange for shares in Los Cerros. We have two target areas. We hold dominant positions in two mineral provinces of Colombia, the Andes project, which is early stage, very large but early stage, and I won't talk much about that project area, and the Quinchia project, which is a smaller footprint but far more advanced and the source of much of the success of the last 18 months. This is a summary of recent drill results, and the main reason for putting this slide in is really just to focus on this gram meters column to demonstrate that some of the intercepts we've been reporting from the Quinchia project, which includes Tesorito, Miraflores, Dosquebradas, and so on, are globally significant intercepts. 629 metres at 0.88 is a very significant intercept that we announced earlier this year, as was 320 metres at 1.5 grams per tonne, starting from 2 metres below surface. And both of those were from Tesorito this year. So Quinchia, this is the main focus of our story. It's comprised of a number of targets, varying stages of advancement, anchored to Miraflores in the centre of that image there. Now, Miraflores is a modest scale, sub 500,000 ounce reserve, grading 3.3 gram per tonne with advanced engineering in place, and going through final submissions for approvals with the authorities for a production license there. But it's not the key story. The key story is these number of significant targets in the area, Dosquebradas, Santa Sofia, etc. in the north, and certainly the main focus and the main attention has been Tesorito, Ceibal and Chuscal in the south of Miraflores. And to give you an idea of scale, all those projects radiating from Miraflores form a circle of about a 3-kilometre radius. So they're all very close to each other. Now, Miraflores, as I mentioned, this is an advanced project. It has a reserve, and at $1,400 an ounce, US an ounce for gold, you can see it already has a reasonably robust financial profile. And of course, in today's gold prices, it would be presumably significantly better than that. But it's a modest scale production. It's certainly not the focus of our story, but it's certainly the potential to become the hub of a hub and spoke model involving these other targets in the area. This is the main story. This is Tesorito South, and this is what's the main cause of our great success over the last 18 months. We've gone from a market cap of 7 million or so to bouncing around 90 to 100 million in recent times, and it's mainly on the back of Tesorito drilling results. And you can see this table of drilling results here. One of the key points in this table is that these intercepts are, incredibly long, 380 metres, 253, 230, and so on. But almost all of them start on surface, which is quite unique to have a porphyry on the surface delivering these sorts of intercepts. Now, two holes I want to particularly draw your attention to is 629 metres at 0.88 from surface with 460 metres grading at 1.1. This obviously stands out as being significantly different to all the others, which tend to be 200 to 300 metre type intercepts. And the reason for this is quite interesting. We actually drilled through the main body of Tesorito, and you can see in this circle here where I'm heading with this story. We drilled through the main body of Tesorito out past a structural fault system here that tends to be the edge of the mineralized system. But we kept on drilling for another 300 meters into what we interpret to be a whole new porphyry system to the southwest of Tesorito South. So we're calling that Tesorito West, and that's why that one intercept stands out as being quite unusual. The other series of results that are significant in terms of going forward is these recent results down here. And the reason why they're quite exciting is they were drilled outside of the main area of focus for the company. So we've been focusing mainly on this area here and generating those fantastic results that you see in the table. But those last three results come from over here, suggesting that it's this zone here where the center of the porphyry hits the surface, the high-grade zone hits the surface, which begs the question, well, if that's the center, then what exists up here? And at the moment, we have 3 drill rigs drilling in that area, pushing the gold envelopes to the north. We have a 4th rig in the south, testing the broad open area to the south as well. So we have 4 drill rigs working at Tesorito at the moment, growing these gold envelopes. This is a cross-section of Tesorito South, and you can see the structure there with those the fault structure I was mentioning that provides the sort of the endpoints to the west, and there's another fault structure on the east that does a similar thing. And then as we go deeper, and you can see hole 16 and hole 24 drilled past the usual constraints of mineralization that define Tesorito South into another porphyry suite that we call Tesorito West. Now that actually falls into a bigger regional interpretation that we have of what's going on here. We have Tesorito South, which is where all the drilling has been, Tesorito West, which we've drilled through on a couple of occasions, and far to the west we have the Miraflores Reserve. Now this is not a porphyry, this is a breccia pipe. Presumably its causative source is a porphyry, but no one's ever actually found that source. All that mineralization and that resource and reserve are a breccia pipe. It begs the question, though, that if this regional interpretation or nested porphyry series holds true, then this area here could be the potential source of Miraflores and sort of fill the gap in this regional structure that we're seeing joining Tesorito and Miraflores together. So we plan to advance this further this year and going into next year. At the moment, we've just completed deep penetrating induced polarization geophysics over the area to get an idea of structures and where we should be drilling for Tesorito West and this interesting central zone. Ceibal is about 1 kilometre southwest of Tesorito and a similar sort of distance from Miraflores, but directly south. This has structurally a very similar address to Tesorito. So it sits in a major north-south fault with a northwesterly structural lineament running through it, and that tends to be what we associate the mineralisation with at Tesorito. We've drilled 2 holes here, 500 metres and a slightly longer hole. Both of those were entirely mineralised, so the entire length of the hole was mineralised at 0.5 gram per tonne starting from surface. So very early stages for Ceibal, but certainly an exciting target, and hopefully follows a similar trajectory that we have at Tesorito. Now, briefly onto the Andes project. As I mentioned at the start, this is 70 kilometres to the north of Quinchia, but all very early stage. We've taken some 14,000 surface samples here, and we've drilled several holes, I think 5 in total so far. Has lots of promise, but it's all very early stage. A great number of targets here, a mix of epithermal and porphyry targets. And we hope to be to see some action at the Andes portfolio, if not late this year, then into 2022. Now on to strategy. We are relatively unique as far as juniors go in that we have a very significant project pipeline. So we have Miraflores sitting as an established reserve and going through the final submissions for granting of production approvals. We have Dosquebradas, which is another resource in that 3 kilometre zone that defines the Quinchia project. We're actively developing Ceibal and so on as drill-ready targets. We have another target ready to be drilled and we have several in the pipeline that either is pending approvals to drill, or just requires a small amount of work to be drill ready. And then at the very start of this whole project pipeline, we have all the greenfield, much of that at Quinchia, but the vast majority sitting in the Andes portfolio. So a very, very robust project pipeline in place. In terms of our ESG credentials, we have 100 people in the company. It's fluid at the moment because we're very active in the field, and so we're expanding teams and contracting teams as we go along. But let's say 100 people in the company. 98 of those are Colombians. It's only myself and the CFO that are not, and it's only myself and the CFO that are not based in Colombia. And the vast majority of those are based in Quinchia. So we're very much a part of the local community and a part of the local economy. Another aspect of that is our performance in the last 12 months to 18 months has been very, very significant, particularly with the backdrop of COVID and many people losing their employment in other industries as a result of COVID. So our success on the drill bit has been very, very fortunate for us and for the communities, because we've been able to employ a great number of people that would otherwise have fallen below the poverty line, given the terrible circumstances of COVID, not just in Colombia, but all around the world. So we've had this brilliant opportunity to be able to expand the team and contribute far more to the local economy than we have in the past. So that's Los Cerros. I hope I've sparked your interest. We have 4 drill rigs drilling continuously at our projects in Quinchia, and we have mentioned the intention of a 5th rig at some point on the horizon. We also have project target generation work underway and in full steam, so we're bound to have more projects emerge from that target generation team. And with $20 million in the bank, I expect 2022 to be just as exciting as 2021. And thank you for your interest.